So I guess for now, I can truly say it'll be a while till we see another animated Spider-Man show. And hey, a Spider-Man show I actually wanted. I knew they listened to me. Now if only. While we're still getting animated Spider-Man stuff, fuck Spider-Man shows. You can change the name all you want, but don't fuck it up. Still going strong today. But that's a video for another day, because I gotta talk about that new Spider-Man show, which I'm very worried about.
Deuces! Parker out.
Alright, let's do this one last time. My name is John David Gomez, and for the past 5 years, I've been reviewing every Spider-Man show. And while it has been a fun experience,
You. That's it. I'm done. This show.
I haven't really enjoyed the recent adaptations. Don't get me wrong, we've been getting spoiled on Spidey stuff the last couple of years. But I still hoped for a Spider-Man show to impress me as much as Spectacular did. Then in November 2021, I saw the announcement of Spider-Man Freshman Year, a classic comic book style show that would cover the origins of MCU Spidey. And of course, I was excited. I couldn't wait to hear more about it. And then we heard nothing for 4 years.
What?
For 4 years, there were no trailers, teasers, or any kind of marketing. Any footage or image that was shown to the media was behind closed doors. The only way I was able to follow the show's development was to read the clickbait articles that were circulating the internet. But finally, in 2025, we were getting the proper advertisements, which made things better, right?
Nope.
The awful premiere schedule, the voice of Spider-Man being a dumbass, the first and only trailer releasing a month before the show did, all of this destroyed any hope I had for this show. And it didn't get better after I went on Twitter and read everyone's reaction to the trailer. I was overwhelmed with negativity, and I was ready to hate this show. But I knew I had to give it a chance. So on January 29th, I sat down and watched it. To say I was surprised by episode 1 would be a total understatement. I was blown away by every single thing they got right. Episode 1 not only managed to turn my opinion around, but the internet's as well. Do you know how hard it is to get the internet to like Spider-Man? But now that it's over, we need to ask ourselves, did this show repeat the same mistakes the last two made? Is it a continuation of the boring nice guy Peter Parker problem? And does it live up to the standards of the 90s and Spectacular show? Well, let's
Queens NYC, and I do it even better with the tape.
In order to fairly talk about the show, we have to address the concerns I had before watching it. Starting with high school Peter Parker.
What? Already?
I know it's kinda unfair to say that when we knew this from the start, but it's something I've been getting tired of seeing. We all know that Spider-Man being a teenage superhero was groundbreaking for the time, but he was only in high school for 28 issues, which is why most adaptations had him get his powers in college. Although once the 2000s hit, the high school setting became Hollywood's stomping ground. Movies, TV shows, kids shows, it all took place in high school. Superheroes that were normally seen in their late 20s were aged down to their teenage years. Superman, Iron Man, X-Men, and Superman again. But no other hero has benefited from this phase more than Spider-Man, thanks to the launch of the Ultimate Comics. This new take on Spider-Man rejuvenated the interest of fans and has been the basis for every adaptation since then. I grew up reading this version and at the time could relate to its problems. However, I'm not in high school anymore and I've seen this concept a million times now. So why are we still doing this? It's gotten to the point where he's the same age as the heroes who are supposed to be younger than him. But as much as I want to complain about it, I have to realize that this could be someone's first time seeing high school Spider-Man. But if they're going to use this concept again, then the only thing I wish for is to see something new. We open with Peter waking up late for school, and of course missing his train. Alright, we all know what happens next. Peter pulls out his mask and...
Ugh.
Hey, Peter. You need a ride?
Hey, what are you doing? You're gonna be late for work.
It's your first day. If one of us is gonna be late, I'd rather it's me.
I just want to say thank you. Things have been different without having Uncle Ben around.
So this Peter isn't Spider-Man, but he already lost Uncle Ben? Most of you know in my 70s review, I complained about Uncle Ben being absent and how it hurt the show for me. However, here he's still mentioned and is an important factor in Peter's life. But we don't see Peter trying to take revenge for his murder. In fact, we don't even know how he died. A lot of people have viewed this change as part of the ongoing problem on how recent adaptations are making Peter into this standout nice guy, which most of you would say he's supposed to be, right? Well, back in the Steve Ditko and John Romita Sr. days, Peter could sometimes be a dick. He nearly fought with every superhero he encountered and has crossed the line a couple of times. Comic Peter wasn't a pushover. He definitely had anger issues that could rival the Hulk.
I'm glad somebody has time to enjoy themselves when there's so much at stake.
How dare you! If you'd been there, we might have saved the Parker woman.
We don't have time to argue. We need to make another plan.
I'm tired of this teamwork garbage. I'll finish this mission myself.
I'm sick of hearing about you and your mission. It's not like any of your brilliant weapons and schemes have worked. Why don't you all go back into the cave you flew out of? I'm working alone again, too.
Now you could say that Peter and every other hero in the 60s was written to be that way to create more drama, but all of these flaws actually make Peter a strong and believable character. He's a normal guy who's trying to make up for the biggest mistake of his life. A lot of people can relate to that aspect of Peter. So what happens if you take that away? Would it change the character? On paper, yes. But personally, I don't think so. Peter wasn't a total asshole. He did nice things here and there. Plus, he was raised by Aunt May and Uncle Ben. It's not impossible to believe he took some of their lessons and values to heart. And I like to think that Peter would end up becoming a nicer guy after all the good he's done in his life. But I do believe that if you're going to make a nice guy character, you have to make sure it's an interesting one. And 2017 Peter was not it. I did not like how they wrote him to be this unlikable loser who couldn't hold a normal conversation to save his life. And it really sucks considering that Robbie Daymond, as I poorly articulated before, is a good Spider-Man. You should definitely believe that after his performance in Hi-Fi Rush. So what do I think of this show's Peter Parker? Well, he's definitely better written than the last two were. He's able to talk normally to people and is a very likable guy. Which doesn't sound like much, but trust me, it's a big improvement from this. But that's all I can say about him character-wise that we don't already know about. I really like what the show does with Peter. However, I think they need to develop him more before I can consider him as one of my favorite versions of Peter Parker. But I still like him for the same reason I like Nicholas Hammett's version of Peter. He's a commendable guy who wants to do good in the world when no one asked him to. As for the Uncle Ben change, well, most of you know what I said before. His whole motivation to becoming a superhero relies on Uncle Ben's words and death. It is a lesson he has to learn, a burden to carry. But is it really the only reason? I had to recontextualize what Spider-Man meant to me, and in order to do that, I had to look at how other media have depicted him. Spoilers for any of this stuff you have not watched or read. Skip to this part of the video if you don't want spoilers. Most of you know that I like MCU Spidey. While it may have had some bumps in the road, I did enjoy it for being a different adaptation. But one of the changes fans didn't like was Uncle Ben being completely absent. which led to a lot of people thinking that he never existed since the characters never mentioned him. But he had to, because what else would this mean? This led to a Peter who was lost and always seeking guidance on how to be a better hero. He trusted Tony, which got him killed. He trusted Beck, which got him cancelled. He trusted Norman, which cost him Aunt May. He made a lot of mistakes and almost went down a dark path. But because of Aunt May's words, he saved a lot of people, gave his villains a second chance when anyone else would have killed them, and even made the ultimate sacrifice. His origin may have not been traditional, but this version represents why I like Spider-Man. No matter what the odds are or who tells him not to, he's always gonna do the right thing. In the new Ultimate Spider-Man comics, Peter is in his 30s, has a family, and even has his Uncle Ben. But he never gotten bitten by the spider. This is a Peter who knows about responsibility, yet never had the power to do anything about it. He's always felt like something was missing from his life. And once he learns from Iron Lad about his stolen destiny, he's conflicted on fulfilling it. In the world he lives in, he knows how dangerous being a hero can be, and how his family would be at risk. But after talking to Ben and MJ, he knows what he has to do, what he wants to do. No one told him to accept this burden, but he did it anyway, because that's who Spider-Man is. In Season 1, Episode 13, New York is hit with a sleep epidemic thanks to Nightmare, and it's up to Doctor Strange, Iron Fist, and Spider-Man to stop him. However, Strange and Iron Fist succumb to their nightmares, leaving Peter to face his greatest failure.
Your greatest fear, your greatest failure, back to haunt you forever.
Uncle Ben?
How's it going, Pete? Still daydreaming, aren't you?
You gotta have that right, Uncle Ben. Man, it's great to see you.
Great to see you. This is your ultimate failure, your greatest fear.
Yeah, you said that. Who's the gloomy Gus?
Mr. Pasty? He's just pathetic. Nightmare, you don't know my Uncle Ben, and you sure as heck don't know me. You think this is some buried secret? Even though I couldn't save him, I live with what happened to Uncle Ben every day, but not in the way you think. I took responsibility for this tragedy and turned it into something special, helping people every day as Spider-Man. Guess who taught me that magic trick?
Uncle Ben is not a fridge character. He's the strength that lives inside of him and is always there whenever he needs him. He'll always be important to Spider-Man no matter what universe he's from, which is why I don't mind this change. The showrunners clearly understood the importance of it, but decided to do something different with it. At the end of the day, it's a harmless change that could be further expanded upon in future episodes, which I'll be looking forward to. As Peter makes it to orientation day for Midtown High, a green portal opens in the sky.
Peter, let's go!
Okay, before we dive into that, we have to talk about the animation. Around 2022, images of the show were revealed at San Diego Comic-Con. However, it was behind closed doors, so only a couple of images surfaced online. I assume they didn't elaborate on how they would be animating it, because everyone, including me, thought it was going to be 2D animated. But then 2 years later at D23, it was revealed semi-publicly that it was going to be 3D animated, which disappointed a lot of people. Now that's not to say that 2D animation is better than 3D animation, but But this stems from the issue of Hollywood preferring to use 3D animation for projects that usually use 2D animation. I mean, look at the new Fairly Odd Parents show. Sure, it looks great, but all those workarounds and techniques they used to make it look like 2D would have been easier if they, well, made it 2D. A lot of people were hoping it was going to look like X-Men 97. But once they finally gave us a good look at the show's art style, everyone, including me, hated it. Twitter kept comparing it to that one scene from Smiling Friends. But that's always everyone's first reaction to these types of projects. It's only after you watch them that you begin to appreciate their uniqueness and originality. So after watching a full season, I can gladly say that this animation doesn't suck. The art style mimics the early days of Steve Ditko's art, featuring a bright and colorful world with cartoonish yet realistic looking characters. His art usually has a dated look, but somehow they were able to modernize it without compromising the art style. I have to give props to Polygon Pictures, the animators, and the lead character designer Leonardo Romero. His art perfectly captures that classic comic look and adds so much life to these characters and their costumes. See what happens when you don't just use gray and brown? Not only does this look like a comic, but it acts like one too. Using comic panels to show different camera angles, hide in action scenes, and swap between locations. This is just like the Ultimate Spider-Man game. But since this has the budget of a cartoon show and not a $1 trillion animated movie, you might notice a couple of reused character models, 2D characters in the background, and still images whenever a TV is on. But that is completely fine, because I know animators have to make shortcuts on the minor stuff so they can focus on animating the important stuff. They don't have time to focus on every little detail you see on screen. This is 3D animation. You have to use your resources and time wisely while staying under budget. I really like this animation. It's exactly what I always wanted, and I have to praise the animation team for pulling this off. Doctor Strange arrives from the same portal and battles the symbiotes, both causing severe damage to Midtown High. Once Strange manages to pull the symbiote back through the portal, a spider appears and falls onto Peter.
I'm Nika Minoru.
Oh!
Okay, rude. I didn't name myself.
No, something a bit. What?
Whoa! Oh my gosh! Hey! Peter, talk to me!
I cannot tell you how happy I am that we got an intro to a Spider-Man show. It's been 16 years since we had one, and it's not just a stupid title card. Neighbor Like Me is a remix of the classic 60s theme, but in a modern rock/hip-hop style. Every good Spider-Man intro reflects on the time they came out, and this is a perfect example of listening to something familiar yet new. Just watching the intro alone is amazing. Referencing the pages of Amazing Fantasy issue 15, referencing the costumes Spidey has worn, showing the supporting cast, everything about it is incredible. I seriously might like this more than Spectaculars, but not more than the 90s intro. That's still my number one. We cut to a few months later, where once again Peter misses his train, but this time he has a backup plan.
Oh, I was hoping to avoid getting too sweaty before school, but it's better than being late.
I'm glad we skipped over the learning how to use his powers arc and jumped right into the Spider-Man stuff. This show knows what we've already seen, so why bother showing it again? As for his homemade suit, well, at first I thought it looked like one of those Spider-Sonas you see on Twitter, but I actually ended up liking it. In fact, I think it's better than Tom's homemade suit. Although I'm not gonna lie when I say that some of the concept suits would have been better. Either way, a lot of people are gonna cosplay this suit. Now this was the kind of web slinging I was hoping for. The animators did a fantastic job of taking full advantage of the 3D animation by having the camera follow Spider-Man. It feels like I'm playing the game. I know how tough it is to 3D animate Spider-Man, so props to the whole animation team. I also have to credit the music. Seriously, when was the last time the music in a Spider-Man show was this good? On his way to school, Spidey notices a couple of crooks trying to rob someone and beats them up. Not the first time NPC Miles got beat up by Spider-Man.
Man, you saved me twice. First my life, then my face. Thank you, dude.
Oh yeah, totally. Anytime. Well, I mean, don't make a habit of playing in traffic. You know what I mean.
Okay, let's address this. This show has an amazing voice cast, but the one voice actor that got a lot of attention for the wrong reasons is Hudson Dames, the voice of Spider-Man for this show. Hudson is an actor and musician who's been in the industry for a while, but many of us remember his first performance as Spider-Man in Season 1 of What If, where he basically tried to sound as close to Tom Holland as possible. I thought he did a good job and wanted to see more, but Spidey never appeared in What If again. Since this show is also adjacent to the MCU, it seemed like a harmless decision to bring Hudson back, until someone interviewed him on his thoughts about the show, which led to him saying, "My biggest fear was that it was going to be annoying and woke." The article came out a day before the show's premiere, and everyone immediately hated him. I know this isn't the first controversial Spider-Man actor, but why would he ever say that? I mean, when you consider what the show is, it makes his comment even more dumb. As for his voice acting, I thought he did a good job. I can tell he's trying to sound less like Tom Holland and do his own version, but I don't think he's gonna be in the top 5 for me. Hopefully in the next season he'll have a chance to really show his range. But overall, he's not bad as Peter or as Spider-Man. And thankfully, he's not as cringe as I thought he was gonna be.
You guys are totally like couple goals. What dating app did you meet on? Burglar?
Although I should really credit the writers for that. It feels good to see a confident and sassy Spider-Man again. Harry, played by Zena Robinson, the ace detective himself, thanks Spidey for the save, and we see him swing off to Rockford T. Bales. So usually when we see a supervillain attack a school, the story moves on and hardly addresses it again. But in this story, Midtown High is closed, and all the students have to transfer to another school. That's such a realistic take on what would happen if a school got destroyed in a superhero fight, and I never seen that covered before. I mean, there's no way a school district would have the money to fix it. As Peter ends up being late to class, we're introduced to his new friend, Nico. So another concern I had with the show was the random selection of comic book characters. I like Peter's usual supporting cast, so whenever someone decides to change it up, I'm gonna be hesitant to like that decision. I didn't like how Ultimate gave Spider-Man a team of heroes that he barely interacted with in the comics, and I didn't like how 2017 handled his usual group of friends. So I was definitely concerned when I first saw the character list, but remained optimistic and wanted to see how it turned out. Comic fans will know that Nico is part of the Runaways, a teenage superhero team where all their parents are part of an evil cult, so they decided to run away from their evil parents. This isn't the first time Nico's been in the spotlight. Runaways got a live-action show that's part of the MCU, which I still haven't seen. Nico's also been in a lot of comics and was a major character in Midnight Suns, which I still haven't played either. I really didn't know how I would feel about her being friends with Peter, since that would change her entire origin. And I was even more disappointed when I learned that it was originally going to be Jessica Jones, which makes more sense. However, Nico exceeded my expectations and turned out to be a fun character. I love their banter and want to see more of their friendship develop in the future. Amongst the new characters is Pearl, who I never heard of before. So imagine my surprise when I learned she's a superhero that can control water. Random, but cool, I guess. And believe it or not, she's actually a love interest for Peter. A love interest? In a Spider-Man show? Do you know how long that's been? We even see Peter trying to ask her out. But unfortunately, someone already did.
What? No, but I was ready. That happened so fast.
I don't think too many people don't know who Lonnie Lincoln is. But just in case, and you already clicked on the video, so this spoiler is on you, he's Tombstone. Tombstone has appeared in a lot of media, like The 90s Show, Spectacular as one of the major crime lords, appeared in the Insomniac games, and even appeared in Spider-Verse. He's definitely earned that major character status, and I was surprised to see what the show did with him. You expect him to be the typical jock bully, but he's actually smart and even nice to Peter. But that's only scratching the surface. The show goes further by exploring his home life and what he has to deal with on a daily basis. Lonnie is a 3-layered character, and considering how important he is to the plot, I would say that he's the second main character of the show.
Hi, I believe this money belongs to you.
Thank you. I just turned around for 1 second and...
Yeah, about that.
I'm sorry, I lost my job recently. When I saw the money, something came over me. I'm so sorry.
Mr. Pizza Guy, sir, I mean, it's ultimately up to you, but she was just down on her luck. I don't know, maybe let her go just this once?
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay. You made a mistake. Just please don't make me regret this.
I won't. I promise.
This right here won me over. Any other hero would have beaten her up and locked her away, but Spider-Man would listen to her problems and try to help her out, because that's what he does. As we near the end, Peter finds a DVD player, notices a crazy car parked outside, and listens to Left Hand Free. We've seen this before, except this time Aunt May is not talking to Tony Stark.
Hello, Peter. It's nice to meet you. My name is Norman Osborn.
I knew this was going to happen, but holy shit, that's still cool. Norman Osborn being voiced by Coleman Domingo? Hell yeah, I love that guy. He's an amazing actor and should totally play Norman Osborn in live action. What a fantastic first episode. It covered every concern I had and gave me the best Spidey content that I haven't seen in a long time. Truly amazing and makes me question the marketing strategy even more. But that was only episode 1 of 10. So let's see if the show can still maintain that momentum.
Queens NYC, and I do it even better with the tape.
Since they revealed the premise at their 2022 San Diego Comic-Con panel, I knew they were going to explore the idea of Norman Osborn meeting Peter instead of Tony Stark. And just from the get-go, this is a brilliant idea. A notorious Spider-Man villain being his mentor figure is an interesting concept. And again, I have to praise Coleman Domingo's performance as Norman. His acting perfectly captures that snide yet cunning trait of Norman Osborn. He might be my favorite portrayal of the character. Norman offers Peter a chance to work for Oscorp as part of their exclusive internship. By the way, can we appreciate Aunt May here? Carrie Walgren might have given us one of the best performances we've seen on TV. Nico expresses her concerns about working for Norman, but Peter brushes them off to take advantage of the scientific opportunities he can gain from this. When Peter arrives at the internship, he meets Asha, voiced by Erica Luttrell, Jean, voiced by Angelique Kunapanani, and Amadeus Cho, voiced by Alex Lee. Hey, I met that guy. Dr. Whitman assigns everyone to a department, which leads to Peter to work with Dr. Connors. Okay, just to address this, I do not care if a character's races change, as long as it doesn't take away anything and adds to it. It can offer something different and be exciting to watch. During the intern's break, Nico tells Peter they've been invited to a football party and that she wants him to be there. But after seeing a burning building on 51st Street, Peter can't resist checking it out and changes in the stairway. The building is being burned by Butane, who I thought was an original creation of the show, but he's some obscure comic character that looks like a cheap knockoff of the Human Torch. So great job on the redesign. There were more images of this version than the original one. Not only is the fight cool, but even the reason for why Butane is burning the building is a nice touch.
Developers paying me buku bucks to burn this whole block down, so they can buy it back for cheap. You're looking at the future site of 52nd Street's newest luxury high-rise.
Wait, we're on 51st Street.
Huh?
You're burning the wrong building down, dude.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me!
After transitioning to a pet shop and saving the animals, Spidey beats Butane and notices a logo on one of the gauntlets. However, he has to head back to the internship where everyone is waiting on him. Dr. Whitman snaps at him, Nico is left alone at the party, and Norman calls Peter up to his office. Peter thinks things cannot get any worse.
So, you're Spider-Man.
Queens NYC, and I do it even better with the tape.
Norman invites Peter to dinner to talk about the spider situation, which Peter tries to deny to no avail.
I know what you think you saw on that video yesterday, but after giving it some thought, I can only conclude that it's someone on your security team playing a prank on you.
A prank by my security team.
Yeah, that's gotta be it.
That is interesting. Namely because the camera that captured that footage was one of my own personal security cameras, monitored by me and only me, meaning no one other than me has access to it.
It turns out Norman created the internship to find out who Spider-Man was, and claims he wants to help. But Peter is hesitant since he could be putting him in danger, and considers leaving the internship. However, with Aunt May's bills, he decides to stay. Seems Lonnie can also relate to Peter's money problems, as he struggles to pay for everyone's lunch. And things only get worse for him when he finds out his little brother Dre joined the 110th Street Gang. Lonnie tries to talk to him, only to find his room empty. Meanwhile, two criminals named James and Maria, who we know as Speed Demon and Tarantula, voiced by Roger Craig Smith and Daenerys Kiones, buy some high-tech gear, which helps them level the playing field against Spider-Man. Lonnie finds Dre at the 110 hangout and tries to get him out, but their boss, Big Donovan, won't let one of his members leave. So Lonnie offers to trade places with him, which Don gladly accepts. As Spidey gets his ass kicked, Norman hacks his comms and helps him defeat the superpowered couple. This convinces Peter to let Norman in on his Spidey endeavors.
Welcome to the team, Mr. Osborn.
Welcome to the 110, Lonnie Lincoln.
Queens NYC, and I do it even better with the tape.
As Peter continues his internship, he runs into Harry Osborn, officially meeting him and learning who he truly is. Harry in this world is a social media star, yet not so great with his social skills. I've already mentioned it, but Zeno Robinson, which is the second time a Persona actor played Harry Osborn, does a fantastic job with the character. He's 10 times better than the last one.
Hey, Mr. Osborn, I just ran into your...
Peter! Perfect, you're here. turn on Do Not Disturb mode.
Wow. Now this is some serious privacy.
Okay, creepy. But then again, not as creepy as the Ultimate Comics. Norman informs Peter about the Sokovia Accords and the dismemberment of the Avengers, assuring him not to worry and that the city needs him now more than ever, but not as Spider-Man. Die-hard comic fans will know that this suit, along with the others, are part of a storyline called Identity Crisis, where Norman Osborn framed Spider-Man and Peter had to make 4 different suits to continue fighting crime, which no one could take seriously. I never thought I would see 3 of these suits adapted on television, but here we are. Sorry Ricochet, maybe next time. And just like the story, these suits prove why Peter works better as Spider-Man.
Now I think he's...
Take that off, it's disrespectful. Spider-Man doesn't wear a cape.
Don makes Lonnie go get his food order, which just so happens to be on the Scorpions' turf. The Scorpions is a gang run by Mac Gargan and his lieutenant Carmilla Black. They've been attacking other gangs and taking their turf, but the 1/10 have managed to hold them back and keep Lonnie's neighborhood safe. I remember when I saw the post-credits scene for Homecoming and got excited about seeing Mac Gargan on the big screen. We never got to see him in Spectacular, and the other 2 versions were disappointing. And after seeing Better Call Saul, I loved Michael Mondo. So imagine my disappointment when they never followed up on that. Thank God they used Scorpion in this show, and it looks like they're going off the Ultimate Comics. Not the clone, the other one. Norman apologizes to Peter for trying to change his hero identity, because he only wanted him to be the best hero he can be, which is why he went back to the drawing board and made a proper Spider-Man suit. It's honestly surprising to me how popular the Future Foundation suit is to everyone, especially when he didn't wear it for that long and hasn't since that story concluded. But hey, I like it, and it's cool to see it in animation. A group of criminals named Dimitri, also voiced by Roger Craig Smith, Mikhail, voiced by Travis Willingham, Mila, voiced by Sarah Nanogeny, and Roxana, also voiced by Carrie Walgren, all robbed a bank to buy that mysterious tech. I clocked in on Dimitri, so I won't spoil that yet, but I had to look up who the others were. The show tells us who Mila is, but I could not figure out who Mikhail was. At first, I thought he was Rhino, but that's Alexei. And then I saw some crazy theories online that suggest he's the Wall from Spidey's Super Stories, simply because of this tattoo. Which if that's true, I'm going to die from laughter. But if we go off the Russian patronymic naming convention, then he could be Rhino's father. So I was kinda right. Anyways, the gang causes a pileup, so Spidey hangs back to save the people. Mila realizes they're not gonna escape and leaves the gang, promising to come back for them.
Wild card, bitches!
As Peter returns to the office, come on, Peter! Remember the days when writers used spider sense to warn Peter when someone was about to see him unmasked? Mila goes to a dark alley and meets the inventor behind all the tech criminals have been getting lately. And it's none other than Otto Octavius. Holy shit, what a great design! Seriously, that is a 1-for-1 Steve Ditko drawing. And I can't believe I didn't call that. It was right in front of me.
Queens NYC, and I do it even better with the tape.
Hugh Dancy does a magnificent job playing Otto Octavius. The recent adaptations have made him a mentor, a scary mad scientist, and my point is Hugh brings that cunning and mastermind trait back to the character, while adding some nuances like making him more confident and less likely to snap than he usually does, if you're not Norman. And his voice is just perfect.
Что к черту мне с этим делать?
Вы это оденете, мисс Мазарик.
I've picked up a language or 5 in my spare time.
To make things easier for everyone, Norman decides to integrate Harry into Team Spider-Man.
Me helping Spider-Man save the city? Hell yeah!
Much to Peter's dismay, Norman insists on it and encourages the two to become friends. Harry offers Peter a ride to school, which of course shocks everyone and annoys Nico.
In addition to being a vapid pretty boy, he's the heir of a big business tycoon, meaning he'll undoubtedly pursue a political path 20 years from now, and of course he would. So the economy will tank, people will become restless, and I'll have no choice but to join the revolution against him.
Here's a question for you. If you believe Harry's so bad, why are you following him?
Obviously I'm following him, ironically.
Right.
Meanwhile, Coach Grayfield, played by Roger Craig, you get it now, warns Lonnie about missing practice and how it could jeopardize his football career. As Harry and Peter start to bond over the love of Captain America, Don calls Lonnie and forces him to miss practice to help the 110 deal with the Scorpions. As that happens, Mila breaks her gang out of prison and dubs herself Nithya Rock. As Spidey fights her, Roxana and Dimitri leave, while Mikhail stays to support her. Mila uses this by putting Mikhail in danger, knowing Spider-Man would save him, thus causing a rift between the two and Mikhail actually stopping her. He's an honorable man, but rest assured he's not going to be nice to Spider-Man the next time they meet. During the gang fight, Lonnie saves Don, which earns his respect and receives a new nickname, Tombstone. Man, in any other show, I feel happy about it. But it just feels awful here. Damn you, writers! For once, Peter makes it on time to hang out with Nico, but also invited Harry so he wouldn't be left out. Which of course makes things a little awkward, but I'm sure it'll be resolved in the next episode.
Queens NYC, and I do it even better with the tape.
Peter wants to mend this awkwardness between friends, so he insists that all of them should hang out at his place. Lonnie gets kicked out of the football team, which causes Pearl to worry even more for his well-being. But he's starting to push her and his school life away. Surprisingly, Dre shows his concern, despite originally wanting to be part of the 110 just to feel seen. Lonnie leaves the house frustrated, not noticing a green car following him. While Peter and his friends have fun, Norman attends a charity event where he runs into Secretary Ross. If you remember, Ross became secretary during Civil War and was leading the charge for the Sokovia Accords. You know, before he became the president and hulked out. Norman tries to negotiate some business deals with Ross, as well as register Spider-Man under John Gallo. Unfortunately, his office security system goes off, and he calls Peter to check it out. I knew Charlie was gonna be here thanks to that 2022 panel, but holy shit, this is still amazing! While I loved his cameo in No Way Home, seeing them interact with their costumes on is so much cooler. What a great time to be a Daredevil fan. After losing his fight with Daredevil, this is a young Spidey. Older Spider-Man would have totally kicked his ass. Norman reveals to Peter that Otto is the one behind all the villain tech, as well as knowing him during the early days of Oscorp. He mentions how Otto left due to his arrogance and selfishness, but I'm sure there's more to the story. When Peter makes it back home, Harry accidentally tells Nico he's Spider-Man, assuming that she already knew.
I thought she knew!
God damn it, Stupe. Lonnie notices Carmilla following him and runs to the 110 for safety, which reveals the location to Gargan, who just bought some upgrades from Otto Octavius.
Mr. Gargan, let me just say, you're gorgeous.
Queens NYC, and I do it even better with the tape.
Nico is mad at Peter, and of course Twitter blew up about it, because we can't have secret identity melodrama anymore.
What a bunch of
Lonnie continues to hang with the 110, and holy crap, are those real guns? I never thought I'd see those in a Spider-Man show again. While Peter and Norman track down Otto, Harry tries to mend things with Nico. I honestly can't recall the last time I saw the friend of the superhero trying to work things out with the person that knows. I don't know if that's a trope itself, but it's one I don't see often, so kudos to the show for doing that. They made Harry and Nico's B-plot feel more like the A-plot of the episode. Dre tells Pearl everything, which leads to her confronting Lonnie and tries to get him out. Unfortunately, Scorpion attacks and...
Holy shit!
Spidey steps in and battles Gargan, which would have been easier if Norman was paying attention. But he manages to beat him and...
Stop it! That thing is overheating!
You think this hurts? This is nothing! Nothing to me!
Mr. Osborn, he just tore out of my webbing. Any ideas? Mr. Osborn?
I found you, Otto.
Scorpion stabs Spider-Man in the back, giving us the most brutal Spidey scene since Spider-Man 1. Luckily, Norman sends in a glider to save him, but Scorpion promises to kill him the next time they meet.
Queens NYC, and I do it even better with the tape.
Oscorp's medical team manages to save Peter, but he feels awful after losing to Gargan and fears what might happen if he doesn't do anything about it. With the suit damaged and Peter still healing, Norman convinces him to rest, but encourages him to become a better hero if he truly wants to stop Gargan. I think this episode is the first time we don't see Peter wearing a costume, which is crazy to think about considering his long television run. But this episode does a great job using the supporting cast to help him through this, and still advance the plot without dragging things on. Do you know how hard it is for modern television to do that? We later see Otto swatted by Ross, and we get this fantastic moment of him using his mechanical arms like the hospital scene in Spider-Man 2.
You're busted, bowl cut. Iron Man to the rescue.
Hey, Mick Wingard! Good to see you again! Man, that is a great Iron Man design. Peter goes to Pearl's house to help with their science project, but Lonnie sees them and guess what? He doesn't get mad about it. I know that sounds like nothing, but when you've watched a bunch of CW shows, it's a frickin' miracle. Lonnie tells Pearl that he'll still be helping the 110th, but she tries to stop him by giving him an ultimatum, which sadly doesn't work as Lonnie leaves her. Peter, being the nice guy he is, goes after Lonnie and tries to convince him to leave as well. But Lonnie won't listen and believes he's still making the right choice. Peter tries going to Norman to get one last inspiring piece of advice, but Norman, being Norman, gives him the worst model to live by.
With great power comes great respect.
And I thought his Hobgoblin speech was terrible. The 110 meets up with Dimitri, who finally dons his chameleon look in ironic twists, informing them about Otto's shop and the leftover gear that's being transported. So now they're planning to steal some for themselves. Harry helps internalize his dad's message by making Peter realize that he needs to do what Spider-Man always does. And lucky for him, he's got the perfect suit for it.
Go get him, Tiger.
Queens NYC, and I do it even better with the tape.
Norman pays Otto a visit to gloat about his victory and get a rise out of him. But in a surprising twist, Otto, relatively, remains calm and fires back.
Who are you trying to impress, Osborn? Me or yourself? You hid in the shadows and reaped the benefits of someone else's work. Surprise, surprise. You're an opportunist, the type of parasite the society rewards because you put on a suit and a smile and make them believe you're more than the scheming man-child that you are. But despite everything you've taken from me, I still have what you lack. Substance. One of me will always be worth 1,000 of you.
However, Norman still knows how to trigger him and leaves, with Otto proclaiming that the die is cast. The 110 attacks a truck full of Otto's tech, causing it to swerve onto the sidewalk and head straight towards Nico.
Are you okay?
Peter?
Yeah, it's me.
Holy shit! That suit looks amazing! No black lines or unnecessary blue lining, no cutoffs on the sleeves or belt, no visible web shooters on the wrists. Straight up, a one-for-one recreation of the classic Spidey suit. With a different logo, but honestly I love that too. Perfect. It's just perfect. Mere words cannot describe how beautiful this suit is.
It's beautiful. I've looked at this for 5 hours now.
As Spidey stops the truck heist, the Scorpions jump in, escalating the situation into an all-out gang war. Peter has a slight panic attack, but recovers to take on Scorpion again. Dawn also has a panic attack, and leaves the gang to fend for themselves. Lonnie decides to take charge and look for something to help the 110. He accidentally opens a blue canister, exposing himself to Diox 3.
Lonnie, come on, you gotta wake up, man, please. Just try and catch your breath.
Spider-Man?
You okay? Oh man, you scared me.
I told you last time, if I saw you again, I had to finish you for good.
Hey! Drop him.
If you insist. What? How?
My turn.
Now superpowered, Lonnie joins Spider-Man in an epic team-up. The pair celebrate a bit too soon as Scorpion pulls one last trick and seemingly kills Lonnie.
Oh, what's wrong? Your little friend gets squished?
You're holding yourself back.
Why can't you just stay down?
Embrace the true power of your abilities.
Is that all you got?
That's the level I need Spider-Man at. That's the level I need you at. Scorpion almost killed you. You know why? Because you held back. And he didn't. With great power comes great respect.
Stop!
Lonnie stops Spidey from crossing the line. I didn't think we'd get this moment from No Way Home again, but I'm glad we did. As we wrap up, Nico apologizes to Peter about giving him a hard time and commends him for his bravery. And Norman calls Peter to express how proud he is as well. However, what he doesn't tell him is that he secretly took his blood and is trying to recreate his powers.
Splendid.
Queens NYC, and I do it even better with the tape.
In classic Spidey fashion, Peter's running late to class and damages a diorama he and Pearl worked on. Luckily, their third partner Emma saves their ass and they get an A-.
A solid A-.
At the internship, Norman finally reveals what special project everyone's work has accomplished. Oscorp has built a gateway to outer space, with the promise of harvesting resources from anywhere in the galaxy. Everyone, except for Amadeus, is not cool with this. Norman insists on testing it now, only to be stopped by Doctor Strange, who Peter recognizes as the guy from Midtown, even though Strange has no idea what he's talking about. Strange warns Norman not to open the gate, but he doesn't listen and does it anyway.
Congratulations, everyone. Perfectly safe and no unimaginable horrors.
God, Eddie!
Peter suits up and helps Doctor Strange fight the symbiotes. Spidey needs to repair the gateway, so Strange buys him time by opening a portal, sending him and the creature to Midtown High in the past. So the events of the first episode weren't some multiverse shenanigans like everyone thought. It was time travel. Meaning the same spider Norman injected with Peter's blood is the same one that gave him his powers.
Time travel!
I never would have guessed that they would make Peter's origin a closed time loop. That's certainly up there with an alien that grants spider powers. As Strange returns, Spidey finishes repairing the gateway, but the pair are met with an army of symbiotes waiting on the other side. The two saved the planet from a possible symbiote invasion, and Oscorp is now under a lot of hot water. Safe to say that the internship is over. The trio reflect on how they could have done good if they weren't manipulated by Norman. Nico suggests they could if Harry started his own company. We later find Strange at the site of Midtown High, regretting on how he affected the past and the ramifications that will come from it.
I believe that things that are supposed to happen always find a way to happen. Sometimes they make sense, sometimes they don't. And sometimes they really, really hurt. But it's okay, because those things put us on a path to becoming who we're meant to be, and this is who I'm meant to be.
As Strange leaves, Spidey asks if he knows what the future holds for him. Strange doesn't know, but he reassures him that he'll be ready for it. As we close out, we see that Norman finds a piece of the symbiote, Harry creates Web, it's a thing they've always tried to push, and everyone from the old internship is invited to join. Turns out Jean is a superhero known as Finesse, the daughter of Taskmaster, and is being trained by Daredevil. Lonnie gets a Web invite, but is now the leader of the 1/10th. Nico performs magic and seems to be able to reach out to her mom. Otto draws his mechanical arms. And lastly, Aunt May pays a visit to someone in prison.
I gotta say, I didn't expect you to come, but you look as lovely as ever. You doing well?
Yeah, as well as can be expected.
I hear you. But yeah, I know you're not here for small talk. Let's get down to brass tacks. So, May, how's my son doing?
Richard Parker? And he's voiced by Josh Keaton?
And even if I can't, I'll figure it out. After all, I'm Spider-Man.
I cannot believe how good Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man was. From having low expectations to becoming one of my top 3 favorite Spider-Man shows is an insane feat. The show was brave enough to change the lore while also keeping and respecting the characteristics that make Spider-Man. This show was so good that I had to reevaluate on why I love the character. I have to congratulate showrunner Jeff Tremel and his entire team for achieving what many thought was impossible. I love this show and cannot wait for season 2. I won't lie that I'm a little worried about them introducing Gwen and making her Spider-Gwen again, along with them bringing up Richard Parker again, but this show earns my benefit of the doubt, and they may be planning something special with those characters. At least I'm happy to say that Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is a spectacular show.